are smart, who come to seminars like this, who just need a little extra help. There's another group option, which is people don't like to go it alone. And the other group of people are people that just want to be taken care of and want to do it together.
So tell me, who here wants to be seen, heard, celebrated, and compensated for their expert status? It is a beautiful thing to be seen, heard, and celebrated. It's even better to be compensated. So I want to ask another question. People are often at various continuums along their business growth strategy. Some people are going great guns and have all the clients they want. Some people are going concern, but they want things to get better. And some people just are getting started and need to navigate the start of their business. Okay, very good. You have come to the right place, and this is a perfect place to learn and ask all of your questions, and I'm here to answer them. I started my company in 2001 as a desperate housewife who wanted to earn enough money to buy better groceries. Now, for all those years, I was the lady behind the curtain making all the noise for all these very famous people. It was like a total gut check. And a bitter pill to swallow to find that when I did a Google search, nobody knew what I was, or who I was, or the value that I added. But you know what did come back? I ran 10K races really slowly. And so I thought to myself, okay, I want to be known as an expert in my field, and now everybody knows that I'm a really slow runner. It's very humbling. And I tell you that because it was a very humble beginning for me. I thought, well, how am I going to get known as this expert? How I got known as this expert is by doing exactly what I'm going to explain to you how to do today. The very first thing you need to do is prepare your story. The next thing you need to do is share your story. And then the next thing you need to do is rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. There is no end to the rinse and repeat. And it's all happened because I have practiced my own powerful lessons. Prepare your story, share your story, rinse and repeat. It's not that much more complicated than that. Isn't that kind of heartening? Isn't that heartening? So I tell you that story because we all have humble beginnings and a lot can happen in 5 years. It really does start with you. And you have to figure out who you are, who you serve, the value that you bring, and why it matters now more than ever. And it's even better if you can describe the impact that you make as a direct result of doing this work. So when people land on your website or your blog or wherever they're finding you, that they think to themselves, that is the solution to this problem that I'm experiencing in my business, for which I am prepared to spend money to realize the relief. This is huge. What are some of the biggest mistakes people make when telling their stories? They are as simple as A, B, C, D, I, Y. If you have a piece of paper, you'll want to take notes because these are fun and useful. Why that's important is it used to be that you'd go to work for Amazon or Washington Mutual or some big company with a prestigious name, and that would be part of the prestige halo that you'd wear as a professional. I'm with Amazon.com. And then it would people would have a glow about it. But today, if people don't like, trust, and respect you as you are right now, they won't do business with you because for many people, you are the company. And if you aren't somebody I want to have hypnotize me so that I can overcome my issues, then we're not going to work together. One of my clients, her name is Bernice Bright Dickey, and she wrote a book called My Number One is Still My Number One. She's in Sugar Land, Texas, and her story is very compelling. In an 11-year period, she lost half of her family twice in 2 tragic auto accidents. I went to her bio and it basically said, I've got a master's degree, I'm working on my PhD, I'm active in my church. And in the 5th paragraph, oh, by the way, I've had tremendous loss in my life. I lost half my family twice with 2 tragic auto accidents, and I live to tell the tale. And I said to Bernice, Bernice, you buried the lead. Nobody's going to get to the 5th paragraph and figure that out. You got to lead with that first. So she said, oh, well, that's why I'm hiring you, because I couldn't see the forest for the trees. Sometimes people can't get out of their own way to see what their story is. Well, here's where it gets better. We wrote the bio, which is, this is a woman who overcame tragic circumstances to triumph, to guide other grief-bereaved people to do the same. And she's written this book as an inspiration to help people along their journey. And it just so happened that when she and I met, it was a couple weeks before September 11th, the anniversary, and it was right around the time of the 5-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, and she just happens to live in the Gulf. And so, I say, prepare your story, share your story. I said, this is an amazing story, and it's also timely, newsworthy, relevant, interesting, and local. So I said to Bernice, when was the last time the Houston Chronicle wrote about you and your family? They wrote about me when the horrible tragedy happened. It was breaking news on every major news station. And I said, well, do they know how far you've come since then? She says, no, they don't. I said, do you think they'd be interested, especially now when people are just at that point where they're ready to acknowledge that these anniversaries are now unfolding? She says, gee, I wish I had thought of that. No, it never even occurred to me. So what I did is I said, that's the newspaper, right? The Houston Chronicle. She said, yes. I said, okay, let's go online and let's find out who covers faith and values for the Houston Chronicle. And I found the woman's name. And I wrote her a pitch. And I said, 5 years ago, this tragic accident was the leading story in every major newscast, and this is what it was about. And here's a link to the coverage that ran in the Houston Chronicle. Would it surprise you to know that 5 years later, the story is completely different? This woman has completely triumphed over tragedy. She's written a book that she aspires to become a bestseller, and it's helping people in these powerful ways. Wouldn't you love to be the first to let the people who read the Houston Chronicle know that this woman has overcome and that other people can do the same? 5 minutes later, she called me back. I want that story.